Alright, so we're doing some more testing right now. Hopefully you can hear me, it's really loud. But we onboarded a couple new brands onto our system. And with new brands comes new unique things that they do within the system. So different rules for packing, different rules for shipping, which carriers take the orders. And then one of the most important things is now for the first time we're doing international orders. So we've had some bugs with getting the labels printed for labels that are not just in Canada. So we've been debugging that. We think we got it now, so we're finally gonna test it out on an international client and see if some of the orders we can ship out. Anything to say?
No.
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT, two-turn baby girl, you know me. Still with the dogs that I grew beside. All the niggas around me, right that they die. Gotta watch the time, cause it's fine
Shout out to all
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT, girl.
Hey, so we're in mini integration hell. I'm trying to connect to an API, and the documentation isn't exactly right. So I'm contacting support to kind of figure out what's going wrong because we're not able to ship international orders just yet. But they got back to me pretty quick, so hopefully we can resolve this and then ship out the international orders and onboard more clients.
Adding on to what Afra said, I think this problem right now is caused by the fact that we're still using the workaround that we mentioned in the previous video. So once we kind of have the issue resolved, that's causing us to work around the problem. I think some of these processes will be streamlined and we'll run into fewer errors. Going back to the topic of sales, I actually have a call tomorrow morning with a brand owner. So the meeting tomorrow is with the owner of a gym equipment company. In my qualification pipeline, I added a new step when we're searching for brands, and we look to see if this brand is hiring any warehouse roles. And I'm currently using that as a flag to determine whether or not brands self-fulfill. Through this, we've been able to find quite a number of brands that do self-fulfill. We have a call on Thursday with another brand in the US that does custom frames. They have their own manufacturing facilities, distribution facilities, so not sure if they're exactly a good fit under what our current ICP is, but nonetheless, I do think it's a good opportunity to learn a little bit more, and the person and the owner I'm going to be speaking with seems like they're pretty knowledgeable, and they have a lot of experience in operations. That's it for now. Afra is going to try to wrap up these bugs, and we can get back to developing some of the features that we have lined up. We're making sure that we're not bloating our MVP scope, and what we're building is actually a need for some of our early customers. Okay, welcome back. It's the end of the day now. Just finished legs. I feel like I haven't really spoken about what we're actually building here at Canopy over the last few videos. So I just want to take a quick second to go over what our first product is going to look like. So at Canopy, we are building an AI native warehouse management system. So you can think of a software that runs everything that goes in and out of your warehouse. To break it down simply, there's about 5 different main operations that go on within a 3PL and specifically e-commerce fulfillment warehouse. So the first being receiving, so getting inventory from overseas, the factories, and getting the brand's inventory in the warehouse. The second one is replenishment. So once you receive inventory, they typically go into overhead storage locations on pallets. So these locations aren't pickable. And from these overstock locations, they go into pickable bins within the warehouse. So number 3 is picking. A warehouse associate goes around the warehouse. They have a list of orders that they need to pick, and they grab the items that they need for the order off of the pickable bins. Next is packing. So all of the orders that are picked by an associate go to a packing station where they're packed out. And the last one is shipping. The right shipping label is printed, put onto the package, and sent out the door via its own designated carrier. What we're looking to do is to optimize the end-to-end process. So from the second where you receive inventory from, let's say, China, and the moment where orders come in through, and when orders come in through digital retailers like Shopify, for example, we manage all the steps in between until the item leaves the warehouse and eventually ends up at the customer's house. Through our cold calling efforts, we learned a lot about all the different software that's out there to solve this problem. With each one of them, there's kind of a long list of pain points that warehouse owners and operators have to decide between. And we've heard from many 3PL owners and operators that when choosing a WMS, you're kind of choosing the best out of a list of bad options. So what we're trying to do is rebuild the system from the ground up, from first principles, to make sure that each warehouse is able to make the most out of the labor that they're already paying for with the same staff, with the same operations. And what we want to do is optimize the processes and the procedures that go into each one of these 5 different steps of fulfillment. And just to update, I had a really good call with a brand today that do gym equipment and accessories. These guys are massive. They do FBA and FBM in North America, Europe, and Australia. And they also fulfill their own e-commerce orders. We learned a lot about the tools that they use for Amazon. They use a stack of different tools. There isn't one tool that fits all their needs perfectly, and they end up subscribing to multiple services to consolidate information and make decisions based off of the results that show on 2 different software platforms. But I would say the ICP is a little bit different, where the brand that I met with today is primarily selling on Amazon, it sounds like, and they have a heavy emphasis on FBA and FBM. Our current focus and our current target ICP is small to medium-sized 3PLs and brands that do their own fulfillment and mainly sell through Shopify. I would say the progress this week has been going pretty well. I think it's just a lot of little things that are kind of just adding up and eating at our time, but we are making a lot of progress, and there's a lot of orders going out the door from our WMS, which we're really, really happy about. We have another call with a brand tomorrow. These guys are from the US as well. I also feel like they don't quite fit our early ICP, but it's worth the conversation, and we're kind of approaching this from a learning and research perspective anyways. So it's always valuable to see the kinds of tools and the kinds of value that these guys are looking for in software. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
So we thought we were in integration hell before, but now we're really in it. We're trying to connect all of these different marketplaces to our platform. So that's like Walmart, eBay, Etsy, Amazon, Shopify, Costco, you name it. We're trying to get it in, but not all of these companies work at startup paces, and a lot of these bigger companies have very strict data privacy laws that they have to follow. So they have to look into your app and whether it meets those standards in terms of security before you start getting user data. So every single one of these companies has an onboarding process, a review process, an audit process that we didn't think would take this long. It's looking like it's going to take like up to 2 months for some of them. The reason we need these integrations is because we want the switching cost of the platform to be really, really low. So if a client is selling on multiple marketplaces, we need to make it as easy as possible to onboard them. And that means one-click integrations to all of their platforms. And if we're missing even one of them that a client uses to sell merchandise on, that could cost like the deal. So we're trying to get all of that in. Okay, so another successful week, I think. Lots of bugs, but the bugs actually led us to all of this, which is what we want to do in the next 2 weeks. A lot of this is new core features, but also actually working with the product showed us a bunch of old features we added in the past month that kind of have some flaws or some additional functionality that we want to add. So all of that is listed here, hopefully for the MVP scope. Obviously, it's an iterative process, so stuff will get added, stuff will get taken out, moved to the future. But yeah, looking forward to the next 2 weeks, building out some new features and fixing some old ones as well.
Okay, that's going to be it for this week's video. We have a lot of exciting things coming up next week. One of the larger things is working on securing our grants. So there's a few notable ones. The first one is typically known as SHRED, or SR and ED. Typically, startups work with some sort of accounting firm or external firm. We're going to be calling 3 different firms next week. Some notable names, but we'll talk about that later on in next week's video. We're also meeting with another VC. This is going to be the 4th VC. This one is also American. We're going to be switching up the vlog concept, so stay tuned for next week's video. If you made it this far, subscribe, click the notification bell, like, and leave a comment. We read every single comment. We'll try to reply to as many of them as possible. If you guys want to see anything else in these vlogs, leave a comment and let us know. We'll try our best to incorporate it in a future video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week.